Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry that yet again I have neglected you and not filmed for a very long time. Also apologise because I've had like the cold from hell for like the last year that just hasn't left, so if I sound quite husky, you know why. I was like umming and ahhing about doing this video because I don't, and this is also like probably a disclaimer, I don't have anything bad to say about the people I worked with. I have nothing really bad to say about the company in general. It's kind of just a heads up as to like what happened. I was on YouTube last night at 3 AM in the morning, as you do. I just saw that a lot of people kind of had very similar experiences, and a lot of people have done, chatty videos about it, so I thought, why not, let's just go into it, because I think as well, like a lot of people who I've worked with, I'll kind of explain this in the video, but I went from like a big store with like loads of friends, like 80 people, more than that probably, and then I got moved to another store who, yet again, lots of friends. But I think like I didn't really explain to anyone as to why I left. I just kind of like handed in my notice and did it. So I've done a previous video about how I got my job at Mac, so that kind of gives the backstory of how I started there. I guess the part for me where I should start is I should have planned this video a little bit better because I feel like I'm just going to ramble, but oh well, it's all kind of honest and just off the tongue, I guess. So for me, when I started to dislike, I guess, can't even say dislike because dislike is still a strong word. I guess for me, when my journey with Mac started to change, there's two pivotal points. A, when I went vegan, that's quite a big thing, and that's still probably, it's definitely the foundations as to why I left the company. So let's start on that point and I guess go from there. So obviously being vegan, that happened while I was working at Mac. Before I knew that Mac were kind of like one of the first companies that ever went cruelty free, like 10 years ago, I don't even know how long ago it was. But they were like one of the first companies to do it. So it was really like, I've thought obviously Mac were very like cruelty free and everything still. So you all probably know this, but it's never Mac that has tested on animals, it's always been the Chinese government. But the argument here is why sell in China and enable them to test on animals on our behalf. That's the argument between vegans and Mac. I completely understand why Mac do it, because it's a market. It's a big market as well, like it makes them a lot of money, and unfortunately money is what makes money is what makes the world go round. I don't know why that was so hard to say. So I understand why the company does it, it just doesn't stick with my moral beliefs. Me, if it was my company, I just wouldn't sell there because I would wanna, like what Mac say is they work with the Chinese government. And they do work with this company. It's called like Enviro Sciences or something. If you're that interested, message me and I'll send you the company. And they're trying to teach China like you don't have to test on animals. There is so much more technology out there, so don't do that anymore, do this. And that's what Mac is doing, and I like, from that aspect, I think great, that's fantastic. But in my opinion, I would just rather not sell there and know that my company isn't hurting any animals. But that's my opinion, like I say, I can completely understand from a marketing point of view why they still send China. And I mean, it's very much the motto of Mac is all rages. All rages? I don't think today was a good day to do a video because I'm just making up words. All ages, all races and all sexes. Obviously all races means that they can't not sell in places because of, laws, so it doesn't say all species. So, I kind of get it. But just for me, that's one of the reasons, and it was the foundation of why I started to not enjoy working for the company. I had to wear the makeup when I was there because it was my job to, but outside of work and now I just use cruelty-free makeup, and I feel a lot better in myself for that. So that's one of the reasons why I left MAC. I guess the second reason is a much more personal and actually happened to me experience, and this was probably the straw that broke the camel's back, I guess, kind of deal. So I was working in quite a big store and I loved my team. I loved every single person I worked with. Like, I think they will always have like a special, like every single person in that store, and just that whole environment, the family of it will always have a special place in my heart. Same, because like I said, I transferred to another store. I feel exactly the same. They were so welcoming. They were great. Yet again, the kindest people I've met. And that's the one thing that I will give MAC, like the staff, when you work with them, are just amazing. Like, I think I've had one argument with one person since I've worked there, and I've worked with over probably like 100 people, if not more. And I just, honestly, they're the best. So anyway, when I was working in the bigger store, I kind of just got into... So basically, in the store that I was in, they didn't really do makeup appointments. They only done, and this was already when I think it was before I became manager, they were doing like express appointments, which is only half an hour appointments. So for me, I kind of just got bored because all I was doing was like foundation matches and stuff all the time, and I kind of felt like I needed a change, and I couldn't see myself progressing artistry wise and going and doing like more appointments and stuff. So I thought, okay, I'll apply for a supervisor role. Cut a long story short, I got it. And I was really happy. I took on a lot of like responsibility, and I really enjoyed it, and the management team were amazing, and I had a really good response from all my colleagues that I worked with. So yeah, I was in a good place. But I think as soon as you step up in retail in general, as soon as you step up to a managerial like position, it becomes a retail job. I didn't feel like a makeup artist anymore. I didn't feel like I was doing makeup anymore, which is a catch-22, especially for the store I was in, because I wouldn't have progressed and done much makeup, or I felt like I wouldn't anyway. But then I felt even like I'd done even less makeup when I became a manager. So it was kind of like, I just felt like I'd got into, like I say, just a normal retail job, and that wasn't what I was looking to do. That's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Like, so, but anyway, I was happy. Like, I just stayed through it, and I felt like, you know, just worked through it. A lot of people had been managers and then gone back to being artists and all kinds of other things. So I was like, this works well for now. And then, to cut a long story short, the company made a lot of redundancies. So they basically made my role redundant. So it wasn't my specific role, it was the role company-wide. So it was basically the supervisor role got made redundant. But then obviously a lot of people then got made redundant. And it was only kept in a few stores that didn't have, like, for instance, my store had like one retail manager, like 3 assistant managers, and then 4 supervisors. Whereas some stores only had 1 retail manager and 1 assistant manager, so they would still need that help of another supervisor. Anyway, to cut a long story short, they kept me on, which to this day I'm still grateful for. You know, like, I'm happy that they saw something in me that they wanted to keep within the company. And I moved to the other store. It was like a month period of finding out you're being made redundant to getting moved to this other store. So it was like a month period of just no one really knowing what's happening, not knowing if I had, because I had applied for the role. I'd actually applied for the assistant manager role in this store previous to being finding out I was getting made redundant. So I kind of, when it was all happening, I was just like, it's cool, I've applied for the assistant manager, it's fine. Life's gonna be fine. So yeah, like I say, there was like a month period of just not really knowing. And then I got a phone call and I was told I got the supervisor position in that store. And obviously, like, I was told, like, I had the day to sort of decide. And I think, like, when you're in that kind of position, no matter what, as soon as you hear you've got a job, you're like, okay, yeah, cool, let's go. I didn't have to really think about it. I was just like, a job is better than no job. So So I started in the second store. It was a much smaller store. I think I loved the team, I loved the management, everything was perfect. It was a lot more chilled out and it was a lot more calm. And like when I was in the bigger store, I used to suffer from anxiety sometimes, and sometimes stuff would get on top of you, and it was like your job, you never, like when you went home you're still thinking about stuff. You could never have a like stress-free day. So going to a much smaller, much quieter store was really good for me, and I really enjoyed being there. I think that the reason that I handed in my notice and left was, I mean, it's quite unclear. All I knew is that I wasn't done with them. I was just done with everything, if that makes sense. I was just done with retail. I was done with the company. I was done with, like, so when I got moved, because basically the way like salary works with Mac, if you're in a big store and it's got a high turnover and you make a lot of money, you're on a higher salary. Where I moved to a smaller store, I went on a lower salary. But the smaller store was closer to London, so I had to pay more on travel and I was getting paid less. So for me, like financially, I was worse off. I was so used to the fast-paced store that I found it very slow paced, and I kind of found myself like not really know what to do sometimes. And I think, like I say, I was just like, everything that had happened within the company, I kind of just felt like disposable, and I never wanted to feel like that. Like, that's the worst feeling in the world, just feeling like no one made me feel that way and no one wanted me to feel that way. It was just something that I felt and I couldn't help but feel it. So yeah, I just pretty much like really wanted to start getting into my freelance more. A friend had contacted me and said that she would have like regular freelance work if I was interested, and it was just kind of, I just got to that point where it just all made sense, like all the pieces of the puzzle. I was really starting to like pursue being vegan, like I was starting to like really change all my home products and stuff. And I think I just got to a point where all these things about why I wanted to leave had all come to a head at once. And it was literally like I had a list like this long of why I should leave, and then like a list that long of why I should stay. And I was just like, if I'm quite lucky because like home wise, we, like me and my other half, live in my dad's flat, so like our rent isn't ridiculous, it's really cheap. We don't have a lot of like outgoings, so I was like, as long as my freelance can cover that, then I like don't really see what I'm losing. And I just went and done it. Like, in hindsight, maybe I should have given it a little bit longer, but then I think there's all these things that wouldn't have changed. The company wouldn't have gone vegan, the company wouldn't have done all this. And I think if I didn't try with my freelance career, it never will happen. It will never happen if you never fully put yourself and immerse yourself into it. So yeah, that's my story about why I left Mac. But yeah, if you're looking to work there, and like I say, all these, I mean, the redundancy thing, you can't, like, it's not a personal thing, it just happened. It was business. I don't, you know, it was scary and everything, but, you know, it's life. It could happen in any job, it could happen in any career. I think the biggest thing that it keeps coming back around to for me is my lifestyle. And like I say, the fact that I'm vegan and everything now, I just feel a lot better within myself being away from a company that I know has very different views about something I'm quite passionate about. So if you have any questions, please ask. I'm very open about talking about it. Like I say, I have nothing against the company, I have nothing against anyone I've worked with. Everyone I've worked with has been absolutely amazing. In fact, I'll take this opportunity to say, if I have worked with you and you are watching this, hi. And like, just like, what do I want to say? Like, thank you for making the time that I did have with the company so bearable, because I can tell you right now, if it wasn't for the people that I worked with, I wouldn't have stayed there as long as I did. Them, like, the people that I worked with were just the reason I went every day, really. Like, I cannot explain to you how amazing. Like, I'm not even going to go into it because it's just long, but like, the people that I've worked with were truly amazing, and I don't think I'll ever meet a bunch of people like it. So I just want to say thank you to you all, and like I say, if you're watching this, I love you loads. I miss you. I'll come see you every opportunity I get. Promise. So I'm just going to wrap up the video now because I've pretty much said it all. If you have any questions, please pop them below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And yeah, you know, the rest of the jibber jabber, subscribe, like, and I am going to be back on it with the YouTube videos. I've ordered a backdrop, I've ordered like a stand for the backdrop. What else have I got? I'm gonna do, I think, see, I've already started planning. I think I'm gonna do a look based on this, which I've done today, but like more festive. Yeah, I said the F word. And do it when I've got like my Christmas tree up, so my Christmas tree can be in the background until my backdrop comes. I love Christmas. I'm gonna have Christmas music playing. It's gonna be amazing. Anyway, I'll let you go. Like I've said about 10 times now. And yeah, look forward to seeing you sooner rather than later. Bye guys.